You might think clearing airport immigration is simple. Hand over your passport, answer a few basic questions, and walk right through. But that's where most travelers get caught off guard because CBP officers aren't making conversation. They are testing whether your answers match your visa, your documents, and your actual plans in the United States. And even small inconsistencies trigger extra screening or refusal at the border. Right now, more travelers are being held in secondary inspection for vague answers, mixed up details, or statements that raise red flags without them even realizing it. Hi, I'm immigration attorney Zaira Solano, founder of Solano Immigration Law Firm with over 14 years of experience practicing immigration law. And in this video, I'm walking you through 5 questions airport officers almost always ask and exactly how to answer them clearly, truthfully, and without creating suspicion. Because once you know what they're really listening for, you can avoid delays, avoid mistakes, and get through the airport with confidence, starting with the question that sets the tone for the entire interview. Let's start with one of the most common questions you'll be asked at airport immigration. What is the purpose of your visit to the United States? It sounds simple, but this question is crucial. The Customs and Border Protection CBP officers is not just being polite. They're trying to determine if you actually qualify to enter the United States based on your visa or travel status. You need to be clear, direct, and truthful. If you're here for tourism, say, I'm here for vacation. I plan to visit New York and San Francisco for 2 weeks. If you're on a business visa, you can say, I'm attending a conference in Chicago and have meetings with clients. If you're a student, I'm here to start my master's program at UCLA. Here's what you should not do. Don't be vague or evasive. The officer might think you're hiding something, which can lead to more questions, and it can also lead to being detained, and it can also lead to being denied entry, meaning they won't let you in. I once worked with a client who just said visiting and refused to give details. That vague answer led to secondary inspection, lost luggage, and several hours of stress. So don't let that be you. Remember, never say you're going to work if you don't have a work visa. That's a red flag. If you're traveling for a job interview, be honest, say you're coming to interview, not to work. Here's a key tip. Your answer should match the visa you have. If you're on a tourist visa, your purpose should not be for business or study. If you're on a student visa, you should be able to show evidence like Form I-20 for F1 students. Here's a real-life example. Recently, a client from Brazil flew into Miami on a B2 tourist visa. She told the officer she was coming for family reasons. The officer probed further, asking if she had children or a spouse in the United States. Turns out she mentioned she might look at jobs while visiting. That turned the situation tense very quickly. She was almost sent back because her visa didn't allow job hunting. Always stick to the purpose listed on your visa. Next up, expect to be asked, where are you staying while in the United States? This question helps CBP verify your story and assess whether your travel plans make sense. Again, this is not just small talk. When you answer, be specific. Hi, I'm staying at the Hilton Times Square in New York. Or I'll be staying with my cousin at 123 Pine Street in Los Angeles. If you don't have a hotel booked yet, be honest, but still have a plan. I'm considering a few hotels in downtown Chicago and will choose one when I arrive. Don't say, I don't know, or I'll figure it out. Vague answers can look suspicious and could cause the officers to think that you have nowhere to go. So what if you're staying with friends or relatives? It's okay to say so, but know their full names and addresses. Officers might ask for more details. If you're visiting several places, have a short itinerary ready. I'll be with my aunt for a week in Houston, then visiting friends in Dallas. So why does this matter? CBP wants to know you're not planning to disappear or overstay your visa. Proving you have a place to stay and people expecting you helps show you have real plans. Here's another real story. One of my clients from India landed at JFK in New York and said, I'm visiting some friends. I'll text them when I get Wi-Fi. The officer was suspicious. They held her for hours. Once she remembered her friend's address and could show a WhatsApp message with her travel dates, she was allowed in. Having those details ready can save you hours of trouble. The third essential question, how long do you plan to stay in the United States? This is to make sure your trip fits with the visa rules and isn't overly long for your stated purpose. You should answer by being clear and realistic. For example, I'm staying for 2 weeks and leaving on July 15th. If you're a student, my program runs from August to May, so I'll be here for the school year. If you're here for a conference, specify the dates. The conference is from May 1st to May 5th. I'm leaving on the 6th. Don't say, I'm not sure, or maybe a few months, maybe longer. That can look suspicious, especially on a tourist visa. If you overstay, you could face future visa problems, so don't suggest you're planning to risk it, even jokingly. What if your plans aren't set in stone? Give your best estimate and show return flight information if you have it. If you have a round trip ticket, show the officer your return booking. That shows you plan to leave as required. An example from experience is a client from the UK who arrived in Los Angeles and told the officer, I'm staying for a few weeks, but maybe more. That uncertainty landed her in secondary inspection. Only after she could show her return flight, hotel reservations, and work obligations in the UK, that's when CBP let her in. And it was just a simple holiday. Important tip. Your stay should match the visa's allowed duration. The standard B2 tourist stay is up to 6 months, but if you only have a plan to visit for 3 weeks, say so. Don't claim you're going to stay the maximum time unless you really plan to. Question 4 can make even seasoned travelers nervous. Do you have enough money to support yourself during your stay? CBP officers want to be sure you won't run into financial trouble or take illegal work to make ends meet. This is especially key for tourists and students. You should answer in a way that shows be prepared to show proof. You might not be asked to hand over bank statements, but you should have them ready, either printed or on your phone. You can also show credit cards, proof of employment back home, or a letter from someone supporting your stay. Here's a sample answer. Yes, I have enough money for my 2-week stay. Here's my bank statement and my credit card. Or my parents are supporting me while I study. Here's their letter and proof of funds. What if someone else is paying for your entire trip? That's fine, but have proof. A letter of invitation or an affidavit of support plus their bank info. For example, if your uncle is sponsoring your visit, have a letter from him stating this along with proof that he has the funds. What happens if you can't show proof? Officers may refuse your entry if they think you'll run out of money and overstay or work illegally. I actually have a client from Nigeria who was asked for proof of funds for a student visa. He fumbled for several minutes on his phone. It was out of battery. Then he didn't have printed documents. After hours of questioning, he was allowed in, but only after a friend emailed the bank statement. Don't let that happen to you. Have your documents organized and easily accessible. Here's some practical advice. You don't need to show thousands of dollars in cash. For a short trip, a few hundred to a couple $1,000s in your account plus return airfare is usually fine. For students, more is required, enough for tuition and living expenses. Last but not least, be ready for, do you have a return ticket or proof of onward travel? This question helps the officer confirm your plan to leave the United States when your trip ends. It's especially important for tourist students and people on temporary visas. Here's how you should answer. Show your ticket home. If you bought a round trip ticket, show both legs of the trip. If you're traveling on, show that flight. If you haven't booked your return yet, have a solid plan and be ready to explain it. I plan to book my ticket home next week after meetings end. Here's my employer's letter stating that I need to return by June 15th. But don't say, I haven't thought about it, or I might decide later. This can look like you don't actually plan to leave, which risks being denied entry. Even if you're allowed to stay for 6 months, the officer decides how long you can actually be in the United States. Showing your return plans makes their job easy and gets you through the line faster. I worked with another client from Germany who arrived at Dallas-Fort Worth Airport. He said he was on vacation but didn't have a return ticket. His original plan was to travel to Mexico after his visit to the United States, but he didn't have proof. He was sent for more questioning, and only after showing a confirmed bus ticket to Mexico was he allowed to enter. If you're unsure about your plans, at least book a refundable ticket or have an itinerary you can show. Those are the top 5 airport immigration questions you must know with key answers. We covered exactly what officers ask, why they ask them, and how you can answer honestly and confidently. The key takeaways: always be truthful, be prepared, and consistent with your visa type. But this is just the beginning. If you want to make sure you ace every step of the immigration process, you can't afford to miss our next video. 3 rules for successful immigration interviews. In that one, I'll break down how to handle the former interview, what documents you must bring, and the easy to miss rules that could cost your chance to live and work in the United States. If this video helped you, please hit the like button and subscribe for more content to protect your rights and make sure you avoid costly immigration mistakes. Don't wait until it's too late. See you over there.